Good afternoon and welcome to a rather warm and steamy Pickett, Wisconsin. And once again, I didn't look to see what the date is. It is a Saturday in mid-August. Maybe, I don't know what day it is. Anyway, it's like 78 degrees, very humid, kind of breezy, which is nice. And on the stand today, I'm going to be running this first time I've ever run this engine. Maybe the first time I've ever run one of this style of engine, which is an OS FS-91 Surpass 2. This is the engine that I featured in my diamond or doorstop video, and I'll put a link to that video in the description so you can go watch that and get the full history of this engine that I know. But basically, this is, as far as I know, what I do know about this engine is it came out in 1999 according to my OS Engines timeline, and it would appear that it's probably one of the first Surpass versions where they rerouted oil from the crankcase up to the intake manifold. And I currently have a 91 Surpass regular older version that has a crankcase where you can actually see that little, it hasn't been tapped or drilled or anything, but that's cast into the casting. So even when they were still making those, the standard Surpasses, they had it in mind that they were going to be doing this. Now, I've never really been a big fan of that, at least on the Magnum engines like that I've run. I just didn't care for it, but we'll see what the OS engine's like. So I'm hoping this is, I believe this looks like it's a diamond engine as opposed to a doorstop. It still feels a little tight. So if you watch that video, you'll know that it was completely locked up, and I had to heat it up and oil it quite a bit just to get it freed up. So I haven't done really anything else to it other than just put it on this stand, adjust the high-speed needle, and I've got a small amount of fuel here. So I've got an APC 14.6 prop that we're going to be running today. The supplied OSF plug that came with the engine still looks like it glows fine, and I've got a small amount of 5 to 7% nitro fuel here. Hopefully this will be enough just to get this proof of life run done. I have additional fuel if I decide to run more of this, but for the most part, the way this engine feels, and as long as it's been sitting, this is going to be destined for a bearing replacement, whether they need to be replaced or not. But I'm hoping that it feels at least a little bit freer once this thing is running and up to operating temperature. So with all that said, let's run this beautiful engine. Oh, and the other thing I did not do is it has good compression. I did not check the valve lash with feeler gauges. I checked the valve lash with my fingers because I'm pretty good at just determining if the lash is proper that way. It might be open a little bit much, but it feels like it's got good compression. So let's run this engine. Okay, so let's go full throttle and see if it takes a prime. Oh yeah, oh sheesh, yeah, it took a really healthy prime. Very healthy prime. So no throttle stop screw on this, so I'm just estimating about a quarter open on the throttle for starting. And let's fire it up, see what happens. Okay, wow, so that's a nice engine. Very nice. I'm very, very pleased with this purchase. This is definitely a diamond. And the best part about it is it getting up to operating temperature helped it a lot, because now it feels more free. I don't think that the bearings really need to be replaced, but I tend to have a tendency to want to upgrade all my bearings to Boca bearings anyway, so it'll probably get done eventually. But this is a beautiful engine. I mean, I've said it so many times before, what do you expect as an OS? From the 90s, 80s, 90s, I don't know about the ones in the 2000s for sure, but this one is a nice engine. Didn't seem to have any bad tendencies. This breather thing, I was watching it on this side a little bit, and it wasn't like there's a constant flow of oil going through there. So I don't know what really drove them to do that. If it was people complaining about their engine or their airplanes being all oily, if that to me seems like the most logical reason why they would want to do something like this, to minimize the oily mess. Now, whether it's a good idea or not to recirculate used oil through an engine, I don't think that's a good idea personally. It might be one of those things where I do an experiment where I just cut that line and put a screw in each end and run it that way, because I don't know, something about recirculating spent oil just doesn't seem right to me. But anyway, this is a beautiful running engine. And the other thing that's really nice about this is I still have another FS-91 Surpass, the first version. And that one I can dedicate to actually doing some more testing and tuning using swamp juice fuel, because it's been so long since I've done any swamp juice engine runs. I need to get back to doing that. Slight diversion here, because Garrett, the inventor of swamp juice fuel, has been doing a lot of that this season, and he's got his 2-strokes dialed in to a T, and I'm a little behind on doing some 4-strokes. So I think a 91 size engine is a good one to do some swamp juice testing on, and see if I can get a 4-stroke engine dialed in as good as he's doing on 2-strokes. But this engine is phenomenal. It's got really strong compression, really nice engine. Definitely a diamond, and I am so glad that I've got this. I love this engine, so it's probably going to be a keeper. So that's our run for today.